Hey guys, welcome to Bubble Wrap 2.0. This is an example of top-down design where we break a big problem up into a smaller problem to solve. So we can see over here, this is just the starter code for Bubble Wrap 1.0, and our goal is to create a function called makeHighlight that will draw a white quarter circle that looks like that, and we'll also be able to reuse move up a row so that every time we draw a row of these white highlights, we can use that to move up and we can keep drawing it over here. So in order to do that, and also it mentions that the radius of the highlight is 10. So let's start by breaking down the big problem of all of those 10 lines of circles down to a single line, so we can just focus on making the highlight on the first circle and then the row of circles. So first thing we need to do is, once we are done drawing all the rows, we're going to want to set our position back to start. So set position, and that's going to be -180, -200. So once all of the rows draw, we get Tracy back to this starting position right over here. Once Tracy's in the starting position, we're going to need to get Tracy to the right spot to draw that highlight over here. So first thing we're going to have Tracy do is we need Tracy, and here's a little picture, we need Tracy to move from Tracy's starting position facing east over here. We need Tracy to move over the halfway between basically the radius. So half the radius, which is 10. So if this distance is 10, we need Tracy to go forward over here 10, because the whole radius over is 20. So let's start by having Tracy move over 10. So we're going to go forward 10. And once going forward 10, we're going to want to go left 90 degrees, which is having Tracy turn to be facing up. And then we're going to go forward 20 to get to this spot over here. So forward 20. Once at this spot over here, we're ready to start drawing our highlight over here. But before that, we're going to have to set the color to white and put the pen down so we're able to start drawing that. So we're going to say over here, color white. Then we're going to say pen down. And the circle is radius 10, as we mentioned. And because it's only 1/4 the circle, 360 is a whole circle. And we're going to do 1/4 of that, which is 90. So that should have us draw Tracy, draw the circle, and be at the end of the circle over here. Once we do that, we need Tracy to get back to the starting spot over here. To get back to the starting spot, we need Tracy to turn. But before that, let's just run the code and see where we're at over here. So if we click run, Tracy successfully has drawn that quarter circle over here and is currently facing west. So from here, we need Tracy to face downward, so we need Tracy to go left now again. So left 90 degrees, and we need Tracy to pick the pen up because Tracy otherwise would draw. So pen up, and then we need Tracy to go the 10 degrees, which is basically half the radius, and then the 20 degrees, which is the radius, for a total of 10 plus 20, which is going to get us 30. So we're going to go forward 30 to get us back to the starting spot. And then in the starting spot, we're currently facing south or down. So we need Tracy to turn left 90 degrees. So we're going to say left 90 degrees. This will get Tracy down at the starting spot. We've drawn our little highlight and we're ready to move to the next circle over here. So in order to move to the next circle, what's required is we need to move the entire radius 2 times, which is the diameter. So if the radius is 20, we'll go 20 and then another 20 to get to the starting spot of the next circle. So we basically need to move forward 40 to get to the starting spot of the next circle over here. So that's essentially all of these commands, starting with forward over here. This is how we draw a single highlight. So let's make a function called define draw highlight. And drawing highlight is all of these commands over here. So the first part of drawing the highlight, this was getting to the highlight and drawing it. Then what we had to do over here is we had to get back to the starting position of the circle, and then we had to get to the next circle. So we're going to want to do this a total of 10 times. So in order to do that, we're going to say for I in range 10, what we want to do is we're going to want to draw a highlight. So we currently only have one row, but if we run this, this should have Tracy draw the whole row and then go back to the starting position, -180, 200, and draw the next row of highlights over here. And then if we set our, for I in range 10, back to drawing the circle row, Tracy will draw all of these rows, and then we currently have one highlight row being drawn, which will be this bottom one over here. So the last part of the challenge is then, how do we draw all the other rows? Well, we actually kind of already have it. We were given it in the starting code, move up a row. So what we want to do is we want to draw the highlights 10 times, but we also want to, we're going to make another loop right now for I in range 10. What we want to do is we want to basically do this commands, but we also, once we are done drawing the highlights, we want to move up a row. So we want to repeat basically 100 times, 10 times 10, drawing a highlight. And then after every 10 highlights, we're going to move up a row, and then we're going to repeat drawing that again. So if we run this, Tracy's going to start over here by drawing the 10 rows. Then we're going to set our position to -180, 200. We're going to draw a highlight row, then move up a row, draw a highlight row, move up a row, draw a highlight row, move up a row. But you want to be very careful about your indentation over here, which is over something I made careful to make sure that I wrote correctly, because you're going to be tempted to simply write with just one loop over here, or you might be tempted to say, all right, so we want to repeat 10 times, draw a highlight, and then after drawing a highlight, we're going to want to move up a row. But what's going to end up happening over here is we're going to draw a highlight, and then after drawing a single highlight, Tracy's going to move up a row, and you can see that doesn't end up in, drawing an entire row of circles over here. So you need to make sure that you have that extra loop over here for I in range 10, and we want to repeat drawing a highlight 10 times, which is the whole first row. After that, we want to move up a row and then repeat that. So there you go. That is Bubble Wrap 2.0. Hopefully that was helpful to you guys. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next video.